time for us to move on to our second speaker, Oliver. He will be speaking on a man's journey to living a pleasurable life one stroke. In this 15-minute talk, Oliver will share with you what he has learned from all the inner work and social experiments he has done in the last 7 years after he deconstructed his former life based on the fear of missing out towards his new life oriented on the complex pleasures of being in the joy of the moment. Yes, take it away, Oliver, and do describe how you look like for our friends who cannot see you.
Yeah, right now I'm wearing glasses and my hair is tied up. So I'm half Filipino, half Vietnamese. So I have the kind of almond eyes, is that how you call it? And I'm brown skinned and I'm wearing it's a black shirt, no, it's a black jacket. And Ewan, would you allow me to share my screen? I just want to show something.
Okay.
Okay. So what enabled me as a man to have this deconstruction of my life is this thing called orgasmic meditation. It's a practice. It's a goalless practice where a man or a woman strokes the clitoris of their partner for 15 minutes with no goal other than to feel what's there at that moment. And the practice, all in short, has a container. So each step is the same anywhere in the world. It's always 15 minutes. And it begins with, so me asking her, would you like to And then when she says, yes, we do it. And then I first tell her I'm gonna touch her thighs now. And then she'll say, yes, thank you. And I'll do a noticing step where I notice one or two things about her yoni or her pussy and describe it to her. And she'll say, thank you. And then I put on the lube and the gloves. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to touch her pussy now. She says, yes, thank you. And then I stroke. I stroke for 13 minutes. And all the while I'm stroking, I can make offers. I could say, would you like a faster stroke? Would you like a slower stroke? Do you want it more to the right? At the same time, she could also make adjustments. She could say faster, slower. Can you move your finger a millimeter to the left? So there's an adjustment all the while this is happening. And then at the 13-minute mark, there'll be a bell. So there's a timer. We use this thing called Insight Timer, a meditation timer for the practice. There'll be a bell at 30 minutes, and then I'm going to tell her 2 minutes. That means that we have 2 minutes to calm down, both of us. And then with the last 2 minutes, I will stroke down, and then I'm gonna get the towel, wipe her pussy, cover it, and at the end we share frames. And a frame is just, we're gonna say, there was a moment in the practice where I felt electricity running through my skin, or she would say, there was one in the practice, I felt heat in my pussy. So that's the practice. It's very precise, it's always like that. And it's not foreplay. I could break down each step in the process and tell you how it changed my life, because one of the principles of this practice is how I behave in the nest. The nest is the thing we create with the cushions and where the zafu where I sit. It's most likely how I behave in real life. It bleeds out into real life, because how I do one thing is how I do everything. So it's like when you might have heard this when you say, if you're dating someone, watch how they treat the wait staff, the people in the restaurant, because you will know if they're rude to them, one day you'll see that part of them. So in the same way, in orgasmic meditation, I learned I do it from my desire. Like either one of us can ask, would you like to but I do it if I have the desire to So I do it because I want to do the practice, not because I want to fuck her or I want her to suck my dick. It's not leading to something else. That's why it's called the goalless practice. It's not a stepping stone. The thing is the thing itself, the meditation itself. And then how that helps me in life is, my practice now is, everything I do now, I want to do it. Like I'm speaking here right now because I want to do it. Not because I want to get a job from Martha or, there's not, or I want something else. It's because I want to speak. I want to share this thing. And it's made my life much more joyful because if, for example, if I go to a party and then it's not joyful, I'll just leave because it's not my desire to. And in as a man, it also helps me to receive the no, because in when I ask someone, would you like to and she says no, thank you, I'll just say thank you. End of discussion. Whereas in the past, why did she say no, blah blah blah? Oh, maybe it's none of that. It's clear. If it's no, it's a no. But then I can ask her again. And over time, I've learned that some, or if not most of the women I know, somehow test the men as well. Just say no and see how you behave, which is very logical, very clever. If a person cannot take a no, then I don't want to be that person. But if he's gracious, then I can ask again, and then she might say yes. In fact, I learned this practice in Paris, and then I first practiced in London, and I knew no one. So everyone I asked at first said no, 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 no. And I just learned to receive that graciously and say thank you, thank you. And then slowly someone said yes, and then it built up, and then I practiced continuously since 2014, and I practiced all over the world. I haven't really counted how many women I practiced with, but if I count, it will be more than 100 now, different women over time. So there's that aspect of being a yes, full yes if I'm going to do something, and also having her yes as well, and receiving the no. And also, before I did this, I've done seated meditation, where I focus on the third eye, the chakras. That's hard enough, but this is even harder because I'm meditating with another person, and I'm actually touching the most intimate part of her. And women have this strong limbic system because in evolution, she has to take care of the children, so she needs to scan the environment all the time. If she's not safe, she'll feel it. So if I'm touching her clitoris and holding her vagina or her yoni, if I check out, if for the 15 minutes I think about something else or someone else, she will feel it. It's instantaneous. It's really, for 15 minutes, it's one of the most, I call it like meditating. It's like the extreme sport of meditation, because there's no room to check out because there's another person there. Whereas if I'm meditating by myself, most of the time I just think of something else and I remember, I'll go back. Doesn't mean that it's perfect all the time, but then she'll be there too, because it's interactive. It's happening in real time, and the clitoris moves, and each clitoris is different. And then there's the spot with the most sensation moves around a lot, and you have to feel that. So real attention is there, and it's also a delicate spot. So it's like stroking my eyelid. So I learned from that as a man that sometimes it's not about force, it's about attention. And also I learned to focus on what's there, because each time I do this practice, even with the same person, it's different each time. Even if we do it one session and another session in the same day, it's 15 minutes, and then I ask her, would you like to and then it's never the same. I've never had the same ever. since I started. So I'm forced to be always in the present. And that's really heightens pleasure. Because before this, I'm more about chasing. It's like, oh, I want this thing. Or I want, whether it be like, I want that woman, or I want this car, or I want this job. It's chasing. But then I get it. I have a, I don't really enjoy it, and I'm not on to the next thing. What's the next thing? Or I kiss her, like in high school, base one, kiss and then touch the boobs and then touch, there's like this, bam, 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 and then even having sex, you have the foreplay, and then you climb this cliff, and then boom, and then it's boom, and then just sleep. But then with I've learned about this more traditionally, what we call feminine orgasm, but nowadays it's less binary. We just call it this more like I call it complex orgasm. In another talk, I call it master chef orgasm, where it's more complex. It can turn on a dime, it can change, it can move. So in life, I've lived my life like that now as well. It's like before I was a lawyer, I had this thing, gun for partnership, but I wasn't happy. Get the apartment, get the girl, have kids. It's a very Asian thing, half Vietnamese, half Filipino. But then I wasn't really happy, and I couldn't see myself doing that. So I smashed it all up. I studied again and traveled the world, and I'm still exploring. So I'm not saying it's all perfect. There are hard times. There are times where I said, "Shit, should I have remained a lawyer? I would have much more money now." But I'm happy to say that because of having done this, I still do practice orgasmic meditation. I've met all these women in the world, and they've said that this has been a healing practice for them. Most of them say that, like, it's like even some of them are happy to share in public, and even that's why I can share it, is that they say that, like, no one's, even the noticing part, no one has described my pussy to me. It's like apparently even they themselves don't look at their own pussy, and some of them even cry when I just, because the container is to describe it in a neutral manner. You just describe the color, so no embellishment. So this is a very Zen practice. There's no music, there's no incense. It's always the same anywhere in the world, and I've done it. It's a very clean practice. And after the we detach. You don't have sex straight after. I mean, you can have sex if you're really partners or if you fall in love, but you separate it. Maybe do it after having it lunch, or do it the next day. Keep it separate so that next time I ask her, would you like to she knows I only want But if you and then have sex afterwards, next time you ask her, do you want in her head, does she really want or does she want to have sex? Well, I want to but I don't want to have sex. So I'm just going to say no. So the practice dies. The regularity of the practice dies if you don't keep the container clean. And as a man, that is very powerful. So yeah, let's now move to questions. So I have a question. Well, I teach orgasmic meditation. There's some teachers around the world as well. Full disclosure, unfortunately, the company that used to promote this big time has got some controversy, but now there's another institute. They've called it the IOM Institute, which is separate now from One Taste. So I don't know. There's been like most of the sexuality related teachings in the world are now mired in controversy. I don't know if it's a trend or what's going on. But I myself, I went to the coaching program. I went all the way, and I didn't really see the controversy, but maybe other people have different experiences. So, yeah. So the question is, yeah. Question: I can really see how this could be helpful for trauma healing as well as partners where sexuality has become stuck. Can you speak to that? Yeah. Now, yeah. In fact, it's quite common that we even gave it a name. We call it the shard glass shard glass feeling. Like a few women, when we start arming, it's painful. It's even painful to touch the clitoris. And it takes a long time to, it's like thawing, you know. It's either that or sometimes the clitoris is so sensitive that there were a few partners I had in the past. They said, I just stroke the air, you know. I don't even touch clitoris until she gets used to. Yeah. So another thing is, it's a lot of details here. Like even entering her field, it's slow. It's really, this is all about slow. In fact, the my teacher Nicole Dedan wrote this book called Slow Sex. It's really about slowness and even approaching and putting my hands on her thigh. You approach it slowly so that she's not shocked into it. That's why there's a safe parting. I'm gonna touch your thighs now. Just don't do it. So and I also speak to, yeah, I had a few. I have a few partners where they were doing it with their husbands in the same community, but they weren't. They you could monogamously, just the two of them, but most people with other people. And some of them share that like they've been in like marriages where the sex is just dried up, and this somehow opens it up, you know, and 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 to her she was receiving pleasure but with no strings attached. It's not like I'm going to steal her from her husband, you know what I mean? So to them, and also she in a way, yeah, one of the other thing that is counterintuitive is most people think that I'm doing things to her. No, her orgasms, the stroker's orgasm is hers. In fact, as the stroker, I'm in the surrendered position, because whenever she adjusts, I will just have to do what she says. It's very empowering for women to do this. That's a question. What about people who don't have a clit? In my well, there's two answers to that. One answer is there's other practices geared towards men, like the rainbow rub with Joseph Kramer, and also there's a corresponding for men. But when I was learning it, it was a bit de-emphasized. Although people do it, it wasn't the emphasis of the school, because according to Nicole, and I agree with her, most of society is already geared towards pleasuring men. You know what I mean? All the porn industry. So there's enough attention there. It's good to have more attention on this side. And I agree with her. And also, in a weird kind of way, the more I relaxed into this, the more sex I had. It's weird. Like when I was pursuing sex, it wasn't happening. But when I was in service, it was happening more. It's a bit paradoxical, you know? And so that's one part of the answer to what about people who don't have a clit. The other answer is an anecdotal one. When I was in San Francisco, I did with someone who transitioned from a man to a woman, and she had the operation, and she showed me how to stroke her, because they created a kind of clit-like nerve ending, and she was on me, so it worked. Yep. Is there something like this but for men? Yeah, there is rainbow rub. In fact, I've done it with another stroker here in Sydney. So we're both men and we stroke each other, and then we talked about it afterwards. It's like the same. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, which is true because we both have the feminine and the masculine in us. So when we were doing it, it was just like when it's the same. It's just a different organ, but it's the same energy, it's the same respect, it's the same container. So, yeah.
So do both people both people are considered in the meditation, like in the state of meditation?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Another key insight I had related to this is, you know, in the before I learned all this, yeah, there's this always this thing. Am I getting mine? Is she getting hers? It's like And me, I'm Libra. My zodiac or my solar return sign is Libra, and I'm always, when people ask me what do you want, oh, whatever you want. And most Asians, so yeah, I'll just go with the flow. But then the thing with that is, when I lived in Omaha, I said, I want to know what you want, because if you don't tell me what you want, I don't know who you are. So it's not about, it's either she's getting hers or he's getting. It's about the third. So this is when we're oming, I'm stroking, and then she's feeling her orgasm through her clit. The two of us are like in the dark room. We're both feeling our way, riding together. That's why at the end we share a frame, and most of the time the frames kind of correspond, because the longer we practice, we can be very specific. There was a moment in the practice, 2/3 in the practice, where I was stroking fast, that I felt this, and she'll go, yeah, at that same moment I felt this. So we're riding the same wave. It's a shared space, the third space. And it works well with relationships as well. It's not about, it's your turn now, it's my turn now. No, we're feeling this, like there's me, there's you, but there's the relationship. The focus is not me or you, neither me or you, but the relationship between us. So it's the same with this one. This is always the first question I get from men is, what do you get out of it? You know, it's not about that. It's a different. Another way of framing this is, if you look at it as a game, whoever surrenders first in this game always wins. It's a bit like the ice. When the ice is just giving up, there's no way you can win, because you just slip off it. If I give up my game, oh, there's another thing, gold thing. One of the when a stroker first strokes, one of the first resistances they hit is when the stroke is giving a lot of adjustments. And then I went through this, like, but she's not letting me drive. She's not letting me, she's not letting me control the thing. And then she said, like, hang on, weren't you complaining that you don't know what women want? You always complain about, oh, I don't know what women. Now she's telling you specifically what she wants, and you're still complaining. And then it's like, whoa, that's true. She is actually telling me directly what she wants. She wants it faster. She wants it a millimeter. I should be saying, oh my God, thank you so much. I don't have to guess. You're telling me. So there's a beauty in that, in receiving adjustments and being. It's perfect because you tell me what you want. Oh, this is so good.
Any more questions? I was so intrigued earlier that I forgot to host the event. Sorry for letting you ask for your own questions. Okay, since we have no more questions, thank you, Oliver. Thank you so much. I was so intrigued. And it was really interesting, and I feel like there's a lot to think about. After, I think Martha said that she feels like tearing up. Yeah, there was something magical about it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
On that note, I think I need a break. Does anyone else need a break? Maybe we could go for a 5-minute break. And then we'll be back around 8 o'clock. Okay, see you guys then.